Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jrod and Cox show on the Preeminent Radio, back in studio. It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute for us.
It has.
Yeah.
It's good to be back. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Jrod,
I'm Cox.
and we're here to try to give you a little nonsense for your weekend. So, with that being said, I would like to take a second to give props to the Preeminent Radio.
Yeah, I mean, they went through some things a few months back, and now they're back in full force. It was hard. It was a lot of work. They've definitely busted their tails to get this back up and running. They are doing amazing things.
Yes. So with that group of people, I want to say Phoenicia Brantley, who is really worked her tail off. She is homesick right now. Hey, Phoenicia, how you doing? I also want to give a shout out to Hirsch, who is our usual mix man. He is our DJ.
Yes.
He's a great dude. And then the young lady stepping in tonight for Hirsch, the one and only DJ Tropical Barbie. Give it up, everybody. Give it up to the Tropical Barbie. Let's do it.
That's our girl.
Let's do it. So just to give you guys a little bit, our viewers have been following us throughout the break of the station. For the new listeners, the Permanent Radio listeners.
Yes.
What have we been doing during this time off?
Whew. I met a bunch of billionaires, you know. I met Richard Branson. I got to touch his hair on a Virgin Mobile jet. I got to meet Bill Gates, and the man has as much money as you think he does. Mark Zuckerberg smells like eggs, fish, and garlic. I will give you that.
I don't think we wanted to know that.
Well, I threw it out there.
It's really weird. How did you end up meeting all three of those guys? What have you been doing? Well, I thought we were hanging out majority of the time.
That was some really intense mushrooms.
So, if you don't know this about Frankie, he apparently likes to go to Pizza Hut and just get mushrooms off pizza. That's the way we're going to explain that.
Are those the psychedelic ones? I have no idea.
You tell me. You tell me.
No, but for real. Ever since we took a little bit of a break from the show, we've been doing the show from where? Your house.
Yeah, the basement.
Yeah.
The dungeon.
Yeah. Just
like the Dungeon family. True to Atlanta roots. We've been in the basement. We did the shows live almost every Saturday.
Almost. I think there was only a couple of weekends we took off. It's been a little taxing, a little grueling. We weren't sure where things were going to land, but now we're back where it all began.
Just to give you a little bit about what tonight's show is, back in the studio for the first time. We've got some guests with us tonight. Live guests in the studio.
Yes, we
The one and only, I call him Thurber.
Yep, Thurber.
And the one and only sweet Melissa. They're going to bring us some information about being best friends and the differences and similarities of being best friends as a gay man and a straight lady.
Yes, they are.
So,
we have quite a few questions for them.
When you have a podcast that you're shooting from your basement, it's not that easy to get guests to come.
No.
It's very, very
just
hard.
come hang out in my basement. We got a phone to record you, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
I live in the woods. Just come to the woods. All right, so one of the things we'd love to do with the show when we start off is weekend chat.
Yes.
So, we had a big day yesterday. Do you remember everything that we did yesterday?
Not in its entirety, but at least 75% of it.
Well, we went outside.
Yeah, there's that. That's why I'm sunburned.
We went outside. We got sunburned. We went to a pool. Now, you had a great story about this young man that you met at the pool. He was a little guy. I'm going to say he was probably like 4 years old.
Oh, are we talking about the
one-armed man.
The one-armed man.
Not the little boy. The little boy wasn't the one-armed man. One of our good friends is the one-armed man.
Yeah. Lost his arm in an accident quite some years back.
That's neither here nor there. We just call him the one-armed man. So this little guy walks up to him.
The first thing he says is, "Well, I see that arm, but where'd the other arm go?"
Where's your other arm? He just straight up asked him, where's the other arm? Hey, man, where's your other arm?
There's no filter on children.
No, there isn't. So that's my point is, so we were hanging out with this little kid. He brings up the fact that this giant man, compared to us, Don's a pretty big dude.
Oh, he's a huge dude.
So he's missing an arm. Kid doesn't miss a beat. Ask him where his arm is. And what did Don tell him?
No, I don't know. Whatever makes you think that I was born with two.
He said it's at home. He said it's at home. I left it at home. He said I left it at home. So his little kid was just like, well, you should go get it. You should go get your arm. That'd be awesome.
How are you going to
got your
swim
arm.
without two arms?
So that was part of the day.
Yeah.
And then we went into you falling in love with this movie that you told me you were going to watch.
Yeah, I was really excited about it.
Talk about it.
For people who don't know me, I am a huge fan of not only Zack Snyder. I think he catches a lot of heat, but I think he's one of the best directors out there. He has every movie he makes is visually gorgeous. Like Sucker Punch, that movie was visually beautiful. Storyline sucked, but the movie was gorgeous. He's done, Dawn of the Dead remake in 2003. He's done Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, the Snyder Cut, Justice League, Watchmen, 300. Man has some amazing, amazing movies under his belt, in my own opinion.
All right, well, before you say what movie, I'm going to let everybody know, spoiler alert, that's the right thing to say, because I'm going to talk about the movie. Because I indulged you, and I went home and watched the movie.
You're gonna give details about the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We watched it. It wasn't that good, I thought.
Right. So
lead into the movie that you taught me into watching that took what seemed like 5 hours of my life away.
It seemed like that for me, but I am also a huge fan of zombie movies. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from, but they catch my attention. Especially, he came out with this movie on Netflix, Army of the Dead, one of his big debuts since, the Snyderverse, and prior to that, I can't remember the last one. It was probably, I can't even remember.
Neither here nor there.
Yeah,
well,
neither here nor there.
So what do you think of the Snyder Cut, though? Because that was a huge thing. Everybody knows, there's some people in the studio right now, just nod your head. Did anybody see the Snyder Cut?
Of Justice League?
Yeah.
Of Justice
Loved
League.
it.
Exactly.
Oh,
Thank you.
Have you been, what was the name of the movie we watched last night?
Army of the Dead.
Have you watched that?
No, I don't do zombie movies.
All right. Well, then we're just going to leave Jason
We're
out of this
kicking
part.
you off.
We're going to leave him out of this part. So go ahead. Tell them about the movie that we watched.
All right, so Army of the Dead,
Now, we were not in the same place. We were at different places. I was at my house. I actually started watching the movie before you did because you left my house.
Yeah.
So I started it and finished it before you did.
Yeah. We did watch Snyder Cut together, though. It took us 2 days to do it for a 4-hour movie, but
yeah, that's about right.
Army of the Dead, I had very high expectations. Especially with Zack Snyder doing the 2003 remake of Dawn of the Dead, which I thought was a brilliant movie. What would you say? A redo of the original by George A. Romero. I thought it was gorgeous. It was beautifully done. I think the characters had a lot to give. However, with Army of the Dead, don't get me wrong, it was enjoyable in a sense that, it was visually entertaining.
Let's take it step by step. Because I turned it on, I was like, all right. I like a good zombie flick too if it's exciting. And for some reason, the new thing for zombies is they're fast.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Zack Snyder kind of coined that with the remake back in 2003.
What about World War Z? Was that?
That was way after.
Okay, well, either way, zombies are super fast now. Like, they run faster than you. They're scary.
Yeah. They can run. And then, this movie, they can think. They're
Well, let's not get into that part yet. Let's get into the part of how the movie starts. The way the movie started was fun. It was cool.
Yeah.
It kind of told you what would you call it? The beginning of the story. That they don't want to go into depth with in a good 10 minutes.
The rising conflict.
Yeah, there you go. The rising conflict. They get you going. Well done. They catch you. They hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, absolutely.
Pull you in.
Yeah.
I was happy with that part. And then it just went straight
downhill.
So you feel like that too?
Yeah.
It was boring as anything, bro.
Well,
I peed like 9 times during the movie.
Well, we disagree on movies a lot.
It was rough.
I think for me, the biggest thing was, and I even discussed this with people at work today that also watched it, is Netflix. They produced it. They did all of that. And they have a hard time of developing an attachment to a character.
Hey man, that's the perfect way to say it.
Yeah.
Because
there's no character arc.
Yeah. So, but the main character, Batista, has to, and again, spoiler alert, he has to kill his wife because she becomes a zombie. His daughter sees it, so it breaks her heart.
Yeah.
He stops talking to his daughter for this reason. Thing comes around, you're never sad about him. You're never sad about his daughter.
No.
You're never sad about the mom dying. There's no emotional attachment at all in this movie.
It's like they just try
Besides
to make
boredom.
one
I'm
giant...
attached to the fact that I'm bored to death.
Yeah, it's like they tried to turn it into like an action romp fest, but that's like that's not where zombie movies, I think, to their core is where they lie. I mean, any zombie movie is like about survival and about what you're willing to do to survive and like what you're willing to do for your fellow man or sacrifice.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And the other thing was, I want to say this before I forget, it was really, really predictable.
Yes, yeah, it was. I mean,
I-
everything that happened, you saw coming from 10 miles away.
Yeah, it was really, really predictable. Now the characters were pretty cool.
They had interesting characters, but again, they had such a saturation of so many interesting characters that they couldn't really involve themselves to really develop an arc or a story and really see them start from finish to end.
When they squashed the mom holding her daughter, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was very emotionally tapped. That was the
cool.
only moment I really felt something.
And when that girl gives all her love to Batista, and the elevator opens, and the zombie twists her head around.
Oh my god.
That was off the chain. That was pretty dope. That made me go, that was the best part of the movie, I thought.
Yeah, but everything else is just again, Zack Snyder is great at visuals, and that's all he did. That's all he focused on.
First of all, before we got to my house when Frankie left, and he went to this house to watch this movie, this man has a giant boner for Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista is how you said it.
Yeah. Bautista. Not Batista. Bautista.
Good Lord. That's all we talked about for 15 minutes of the car ride.
The man's phenomenal.
He was, again.
Yeah, he tried to make the jump from the man has a whole separate category of him and Dwayne Johnson's both being wrestlers, getting in the movie business. Dwayne Johnson's an action star. He's just a face. He's a big broad dude to be in movies. Batista, however, is trying to be an actor and get deeper into
First
the
of all,
characters.
there's a movie The Rock did on Disney with his daughter called The Game Plan. That movie is sensational. I'm pretty sure I cried in that movie.
Well, that's neither here nor there.
Well, that just goes to show he has depth and great character development.
Or just your own personal taste in movies.
Well, maybe it's because I'm a dad. That's neither here nor there. Look, I'm a middle-aged, sentimental person.
Sentimental.
Gotta get those syllables. Syllables.
You're getting there, bud. I believe in you.
Miss Latrell would be so proud of me. So either way, I think Jrod and Cox, we give, what's the name of the movie again? I can't even remember. It was
Army
so bad.
of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. We give.
What do you rate it out of 10?
Oh, we're gonna give it that chance to be that high. I'd say 1 out of 2. I'm gonna give it a -2.
And oh wow, I'd at least give it a 6 out of 10.
It's, man.
I'll give it 6.
It's worth a start.
It was great if you don't care about story, you don't care about arcs, any of that. It's great for a good visual action romp. Outside of that, don't expect anything more.
It was lame, slow, predictable, and I didn't enjoy it at all except for the first 15 minutes.
You let me down, Snyder. You let me down.
Yes. But the city of Atlanta had a great highlight though the other night, in a Sunday night.
Okay.
Besides the movie that I watched, the Atlanta Hawks made it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I had no idea.
He has no idea about sports.
Yeah, I don't follow sports.
Atlanta Hawks with our one, Trae Young, beat the Knicks 107-105. Thrilling game. This is going to be the best series of the playoffs, I guarantee you. These two teams are so young, so even.
Okay.
It's going to go either way. Of course I'm rooting for the Hawks, but this is going to be a fantastic series if you love basketball, especially a mix of new school and old school basketball. Because you don't go to Madison Square Garden and not get pushed around. Sorry, it's just the way it is.
I've never been, so I have no idea.
Well, that's because you don't know sports.
Yeah, that's true.
But, imagine when you were 7.
I'm 7 years old.
You were getting pushed around on the playground.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
That's why I brought it up. I knew you could relate to that. So that's what it's like going to play Madison Square Garden.
That sounds awful.
It's just
Why would you go?
Well, you have to. You get paid millions of dollars to go show up.
All right, I'll get bullied for $7 million. Absolutely.
You're off track.
Right.
I want to give love to the Hawks and Trae Young, our man. We got a great young team. You should be excited.
Woo! All right. I am so stoked. Go Atlanta Hawks!
Amen. On the flip side of that, our man, which I don't know, again, you're not going to put much into this. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like not the Hawks, but the Falcons. We're going to switch to the Falcons football team. They made the decision to keep Matt Ryan. So they had a great draft. Now they have to make a decision to keep Julio or not. Huge price tag, but now here Julio is. Today he said he doesn't want to play for the Falcons anymore.
So easy decision, right?
It's actually not. He's under contract. But that's a huge loss for the city. That man was drafted a Falcon. He loves the city. He's done a lot for the city, and now he doesn't want to be here anymore. So what would that relate to you? If you had, oh my God, it's almost like a culture situation for you.
That's like Captain America just being like, man, I want nothing to do with Marvel Comics anymore.
Okay, that's a great point.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
So what's your point of view on that? And we're just going to switch Captain America and Marvel Comics to
basketball.
Julio, no, this is football.
Oh, football.
This is how much
there's a ball involved and points to be made.
Julio Jones and the Falcons. So if Captain America was to tell them Marvel Comics he didn't want to be there anymore, how would that make you feel? As a fan, what would you do?
That's straight up hot garbage. Like, that's a dumpster fire. I want nothing to do with it. That's just not going to happen. We're not going to allow it.
Amen. So that's what, in my mind, the Falcons should say. But now the Falcons also started saying, so on the flip side, if Marvel Comics was like, well, we're going to maybe trade, we're thinking about maybe trading Captain America to, what's the other one, DC?
Yeah.
We're going to maybe trade him to DC.
But who do we get in return?
Well, that's the thing. We said these things out loud without.
You mean we could end up with Green Lantern? I don't want that. I don't want that.
Right. Well, hopefully we don't get that because it's Julio Jones. But that's Julio's point is they started saying these things about him without saying these things to him.
Oh.
You feel me now?
Ah.
So now he's pissed off and he wants to leave.
I kind of get that.
Okay, so now you get the whole shebang shaboodle.
Captain America, you do what you gotta do, buddy.
There it is. Julio Jones, you do what you got to do. City of Atlanta loves you. I love you. He's the man.
Yeah.
You're hurt a lot. I gotta say that. You are hurt a lot. Now, we're about to take our first break. So before we take our first break,
Okay.
there's always been a staple with this show.
What's
It's
that?
Jrod and Cox.
Yeah.
There's always been somebody hanging out with us.
You're talking about our boy.
Our boy right here. If you can see, guys,
If
on
you guys
camera.
are tuning in to our YouTube channel, you can see this.
Porch Boy's always been with us. He's been with us
Yeah.
really since day one. He wasn't supposed to be. And for those of you that don't know, Porch Boy is my son.
Yep.
And we're not going to talk about it right now. We're going to go into the break, and then we're going to explain to you why he isn't here when we get back. And when we come back, we'll talk about that and introduce our guest for the rest of the night.
Absolutely.
So just please come back and join Jrod and Cox very soon.